for a good cause. Up to you, fellas.
Thank you, Cords.
He's so important in the 10 network now. Nearly doesn't even have to hold his own microphone.
He's one of the few that has his own.
We aspire to that greatness, don't we, Hutto?
We do. You see the result of the toss there. Bossy and Blighty, we're looking forward to this game. It's going to be hot early. The Bombers have actually played their best footy early in matches. I think they've won 7 of their 9 quarters. And Barry Hall's got a wonderful record against Essendon. Both the forwards at each end of the ground, we've already talked about, but they've both got really good records against these teams. So it could, we're not used to seeing high-scoring games with Sydney, but the forward lines could tell the tale.
Well, they will. They're both very good at scoring big scores when they move the ball quickly. Both important to each team. Lloyd and Lucas at one end and Hurd also. And then you've got Hall, O'Loughlin, O'Keefe, Buchanan, Schneider. I mean, the list goes on and on, doesn't it, Blighty?
It does. And now Michael on Barry Hall and young Ryder on O'Loughlin at fullback.
So ready to go. Matthew Lloyd averages 5 goals a game against Sydney in his last 10 matches, which is a terrific record. And Barry Hall is averaging 6 goals a game against Essendon in his last 5 games.
Yeah.
So they can kick some goals, those two forwards, against these respective teams. There's Mel Michael.
You'd expect Hall to get up onto the wings. I think Mel Michael just let him go.
Yep.
It's the defensive 50 where it'll be most important to be able to stay with him.
And Mark Johnson's loose in that defensive 52.
And Fletcher out on the other wing by himself. Sydney playing 1 extra in defence.
Yeah, there's Richards playing in front of Lucas. So we've got the same at each end. It should be a great struggle. Looking forward to Saturday night football.
In high definition, away we go at the SCG. Hill in the ruck, got first hand to it, fed it out.
Ooh.
Hurd tried to soccer unsuccessfully off the ground. McVeigh, the 2 brothers playing tonight, 1 for each team. Slattery fed it out to Hill. Head over the ball, good stuff. To Winderlich, to McPhee, to Hurd. Hurried kick back to the wing. Picked up by Kirk. Just throws it on the boot to half forward. There's Bombers everywhere. And mopping up is James Hurd, the best of them all. And he goes short to McVeigh.
And some of the important players have got touches already for the Bombers and for the Swans, if you count Kirk. There's oh, that's a dangerous kick across the face from Stanton, but it gets Ryder, and now McPhee. He looks good when he's up and running and bouncing and sending it forward off half back. Lloyd getting forward. Here he comes again, Stanton. He had to get onto his right boot. He was able to. It's deep. Bolton gets some help from Richards. That looks like it's going to be his task for the night.
Yeah, both coaches have actually dropped one back. You can never certain who actually did it first, but Richards is playing loose and helped out, as Hutto called there.
13 touches for the Bombers and only 1 for Sydney so far. Here's Adam Goods, as we said, flashing back into action last week and starts tonight's game beautifully. Ablett in space. Normally you see him shadowing someone. And that's a beautifully placed kick, although Hurd reads it better than most. And he takes the mark and links with his mate Dustin Fletcher, who blasts forward.
It was a huge kick inside 50. Hill from the side couldn't mark. McVeigh pops one over the top. Should be an Essendon goal. Welsh. Well, they looked switched on early, the Bombers. James Hurd has just been outstanding in the opening couple of minutes.
Well, James Hurd did well there. He had to take another Sydney player. Ablett kicked it straight to him, who is his direct opponent, and got the ball going forward very quickly on the turnover and scored a goal.
And they've had 17 touches to 3. That won't continue, I can assure you.
So Welsh back in the team. You can see what his job's going to be. He's going to be the half forward playing defensively on Kennelly. If he kicks a few goals, that's a massive bonus, Blighty.
Absolutely.
James Hurd hot at the start of this game. We're going to watch this ruck contest with great interest tonight in the centre. Certainly the Swans ruckman will have some confidence. Vossi, last time these two sides met, it was 44 hitouts to 14 in favour of Jolly over David Hill. And even when Hill came up against Everett last year, Everett was able to dominate. So that'll give them the confidence. A massive job, as we've said, for Hill and for Laycock when he gets his opportunity. They look pumped, the Bombers. Hill throwing his body around. There's Watson, who was so brilliant at the end last week.
Making the play, the Bombers.
Yeah, they are. McVeigh and McPhee again. Davy's got to go over his mate Winderlich. Could have been some hanging on. Winderlich. Lloyd made the lead. He might be able to kick that goal. He doesn't really place the kick well. There's the Bolton versus Goods battle we're going to see all night.
I mean, it's a Sydney cricket ground. The 50-metre arc doesn't quite touch the centre square. So he's only kicking from 45 metres, which most blokes can kick. I don't know why you just don't settle down, Michael, and have a shot.
Back yourself in.
Yeah.
Kick the goal.
Jolly got the tap. Here's Welsh again, fed it out. Snap. Mark Johnson, it's a goal. Bombers have got two.
Well, compared to some of the games we've seen against the Swans, particularly up here in Sydney, they can close sides down for hours, it seems, but this has been a blistering start. Interesting, both the goals have been snaps and kicked to 50-50s. Hasn't been a lot of finesse so far.
And by unlikely goal kickers too.
Yep.
Well, Bolton is playing in defence and followed Schneider all the way down the ground, which found him in the forward 50, going with him all the way, and found the space and kicked the goal.
So Mark Johnson and Welsh, the goal kickers so far. Mistiming the leap there was Jolly, and Watson, who's so good, he's their #1 centre clearance man. Canelli was touched off the boot. Welsh having a good influence. The Swans just can't get their hands on the footy. Now they can. Malcheski and Kirk, Goods showing some positive motion for them. Richards a target. Looks like he might be against Fletcher just from the early viewing we've seen after he was playing the loose man to start with. Back to Malcheski. Talked about him in the opening. His kicking efficiency at 90% for the year, so that's well and truly in the elite level. Kirk. Hall's making his lead with Michael in front of him as Ablett looks up. He might go a bit deeper, hoping for O'Loughlin, but anticipation from Ryder was superb. And the Bombers doing everything right at the moment.
That is 2 attacks on the ball from a young fella. He's just thriving, and you'd think at full back wouldn't suit.
Winderlich to Davey, look at the pace. Has one bounce. Splits them open and goes to Lloyd. And he's within range, Matthew Lloyd.
Keep coming, keep coming. You're with me, keep
So
coming.
Lloyd loads up. 55 out, goes for home. Matthew Lloyd has kicked Essendon third. They've got the flyer.
Well, Essendon proactive. They're attacking the ball. Started from defence once again. Davey just prepared to back himself and carry it. And then Lloyd, who spoke about probably about 2 minutes earlier, Blighty, backing himself in inside the centre square and kicking the gong goal.
Had good form against Leo Barry and the Swans for a long time, Matthew.
Average 4-4
Yeah,
goals against the Swans. It's a good record.
Yeah, Lloyd, a great kick. Just watch your centre bounce. No one's getting on the Essendon side. The Swans have been beaten in the centre bounce 3 in a row. See how there's no one to the right of that screen?
Yeah.
Just what I mean, they've won 3 in a row virtually by doing the same thing. You need to close that up. What's this? Didn't happen then.
Jude Bolton, hold. Jude Bolton's free, keep
Oh, that's
holding.
it. We've got the Swans one anyhow. It's interesting, though.
Disposals 30 to 10, the disposal count at the moment.
It's already pretty chockers up forward for the Swans. Richards makes a positive motion. But Fletcher should have that covered. Davey. Fletcher actually had a relatively quiet week last week with 16 possessions. He leads them all in terms of rebound 50s. Bolton was always intending to take that over.
Essendon are very, Swans are very conscious about Essendon dropping numbers back to, and that last centre bounce, Essendon only had 4 forwards. So they're prepared to be able to man them up in that area of the ground.
Hill from behind Jolly that time. Nothing doing there.
This is what tires you out. We know the Swans have got older, stronger bodies, and I think they need to get a few bounces in a row here now. Often criticised for this, apparently, the Swans.
I'm not going there, Malcolm.
You saw the domination of the time in possession. 31 touches to 11. Bolton crunched as soon as he got it. Dempster was able to read the Watson handball. Again, Hurd right on the job tonight. That is...
Hang on. Not in the back?
No, it's a good tackle.
Shows the intent there of Essendon, though. James Hurd starting on the half-back flank, dragging Ablett out of the play to congest Sydney's forward line.
Got him in the side, Malcolm.
Well, there's plenty of congestion around here. The sort of stuff that Jason Johnson thrives on. Canelli versus Welsh. Bombers with 2 half-forwards playing defensive roles. That was Nick Davis. And again, the Bombers are able to surge. Mark Johnson's kick was terrific. Here's one of their other defensive half-forwards. McVeigh is playing on Malcheski, and he has shown the ability. He didn't have a great week last week, but 2 weeks ago against Luke Power, he kicked 2 goals, 3, and had lots of shots at goal. So, gee, what a stunning start from Essendon.
They are up and about, as they say. It's a nice kick normally, isn't he?
7 goals, 8 for the year, Blighty. But I'll take your word for it.
Well, it's dead quiet here because the Sydney Swans fans are in complete
This is unbelievable.
shock.
Yeah.
We're all in
Complete
shock.
shock.
We're all in shock.
I think I read one of those stats that we often talk about, Stephen. Their first quarters, I think they've won 7 out of 9, Essendon.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, so they're pretty good at starting.
Well, it is dead quiet here at the moment. The Swans fans are dead quiet. I think we're all in shock of what's happening right at the moment.
Well, it is a full moon. We said something weird was going to happen. Not weird if you're an Essendon fan, though. You'd be loving this at home.
That's a bit eccentric, Stephen.
You'd know. Jolly goes deep. Richards. Oh, that's a push in the back. So Swans have got a free kick there. So Ted Richards is a long way from goal. And at least the Swans are going to get it in their attacking 50. So kicks to the hot spot. A huge contested situation. No mark. And away for the Bombers is McPhee. Scrubs a kick to the wing. And it finds touch. It's an excellent effort. And it is too. Not deliberate.
Yes,
pace.
Had to be. Had to be. Had to be.
Had 50 metres.
He had to be.
You can't count for bounce in a game, Michael. Come on.
Consistency and the way that's been interpreted.
He's kicked it 48,000 metres.
What was he trying to do?
We've already seen this.
O'Keefe has turned it over to Watson. To Lucas. And now the Bombers away. It's a one-on-one here.
Push back.
Goods against Bolton. Essendon's whipping boy. Can he do something here? No, he can't. Oh, Goods has slipped over. Bolton lays the tackle. It's going to be a rush behind. No, it's not. Kennelly's going to keep it alive. And the Swans out of trouble, but only just.
And they're on here through the middle of the ground, and they can get the vision for O'Keefe. He can. He's got Davis. Now they're running again. Malcheski, so it's in good hands. Bolton. Hall pushing back to the square. Bolton might go there and beyond. No touch on the line. Essendon can do no wrong, and Paddy Wright has been one of the stars so far, and he's already got it back into play in Jason Johnson's hands.
Oh, Johnson, it is very slippery out there. Very wet underfoot when we're out on the ground, so might be a few change of football boots at quarter time. Good tackle on Fosdyke. Everett mops up to Buchanan. Squares it up into the corridor. Oh, the big flowers by McPhee. Staying down was O'Loughlin. Twists. Gets the handball out. Buchanan breaks the tackle. Great handball. Fosdyke kicks the goal in his 150th game. And boy, did the Swans need that.
Well, you know, that's going to be one of the great coaching tapes there for Kevin Sheedy. 2 missed tackles. Montfrey's missed a real sitter. Should have locked him up. And there's another one from Johnson. That's the second one. And if there's one thing you've got to do right, and that's tackle aggressively. And there were 2 missed there, and they've paid the ultimate price.
The best teams do it, Malcolm.
Yep, they do.
So Nick Fosdyke, his first goal for the season, and it's an important one that just steadies the Swan ship. Was looking decidedly shaky.
Yes, he had 5 behinds up until that time, and as you mentioned, quarters, it's game number 150, so we really enjoyed it. Hill has done better than break even so far, but maybe that can be the turnaround of momentum for the Swans. And here's Fosdyke again. Montfrey's with the turnover. Help from Buchanan. Richards playing as a lead up forward, trying to contain and make Dustin Fletcher accountable. Hooley, Slattery, good old-fashioned defender. Gives Bolton the opportunity. He needs everything he can get with Adam Goods on him. Play on was the call from the umpire. Into the pocket, Lucas, 2 to contend with. Well done by Bolton. Malcheski just out for Fosdyke. Goods is the next man in line, and he knows it. Well done by Fosdyke, playing on adrenaline tonight on his big occasion. Bevan and Slattery, and it's over.
Well, not having a go at this young fella. Montfrey's missed another tackle on the ground, and you just, oh, gee.
Could have been hands in the back. Yeah. wonder if Richard's watching tonight. He probably isn't. He's playing.
Huge number of players around the ball. Kirk fed it out. Here's Davis. Couldn't control it. Hooley, clever tap. It is slippery out there. Bodies flying everywhere. Fosdyke couldn't get a handle on it.
Big win here. A big win.
Now McVeigh. High ball. Whistle. It's going to Bolton against Goods.
It's a mini win. You take those mini wins against great players like that. Now he has to go back and kick the goal.
Well, Michael, that is a typical 50-50, isn't it? As we watch this in replay and that slight nudge. Oh, gee, wouldn't you like to be playing now, Michael?
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Paul Roos didn't like it. Now,
and I don't blame you. I mean, that's...
He did take him out of the contest a bit, though. Like, it was before the ball had arrived.
It just doesn't. It doesn't.
You're allowed to lean on people.
Yeah.
It is a contact sport.
Doesn't promote strong bodies. Promotes you to fall over.
It's not for cuddling.
Bolton. Oh, it's a great kick. And he's nailed it. Well, the Swans fans don't like it, but Mark Bolton kicks a very valuable goal. And a couple of the blokes up there have been pinch hitting. I mean, it's a bonus. Bolton's got a goal. Mark Johnson's got a goal. And Welsh has got a goal. So they've had a lot of mini wins, haven't they?
Absolutely. I mean, the most important thing about that is Essendon won a contested ball that seemed to take 30 seconds to clear to put him in that dangerous spot.
Adam Goods actually has his worst record against any team against Essendon. So Mark Bolton has done the job. His average over his career is 15, and against Essendon it's only 13.
You tell him that as a forward you're not supposed to have your hand across your defender. It's supposed to be the other way around, isn't it?
Here comes Mark Johnson and the Bombers again. Goods. Well, that was good fierce tackling from Lloyd. So they're putting the pressure on all over the ground at the moment. It's a committed effort. That one might have just slipped a bit high.
Well, soon enough for Goods now to say that he's playing okay, but I'd put him at full forward now. Just put him at the other end, see if Bolton's any good as a defender. I mean, just have a look at it for 5 minutes.
Well, this is Craig Bolton. There's 3 Boltons out there tonight. None of them related. Barry.
Hold it, David, hold it. Move it on. Play on.
Usually takes pretty short, safe options, Leo Barry. Has barely missed a target by foot all season. Kennelly. Hall's working hard. We might see him in the picture there. He's at the top of frame. Uses McVeigh on the way. In fact, it's Fosdyke.
Yes, they just haven't been able to go through Barry Hall at the moment. Just the game hasn't folded for him.
Well, he's got to do something here. He just had to be a little careful not to infringe. And Matthew Lloyd able to shovel it out again. Now Mel Michael adrift on the wing. Here's Slattery again. Finds a way through and just about got exhausted. In fact, he ran too far.
He's a real Gary O'Donnell clone, isn't he? I reckon. Slattery.
Only averages about, I think, 8 possessions a game, but he's just probably a good player to have back there.
Yeah, he's probably only 15 years away from looking like Gary O'Donnell, but I know what you mean.
So the Swans have got the ball. No one on the mark, so Bevan's away. Here's a chance for Hall. Fletcher's got to beat a couple. He's up to the task.
They put it up like that. Essendon will cover for each other all night. They've got 2 very good defenders down there.
It's un-Swans-like, isn't it, really, the way they brought the ball into their forward line?
Yeah, they sit it up like that. Fletcher, Michael, McPhee, they'll jump all over them all night.
Hill works his way to the front. Got the tap to Watson. O'Keefe can't get boot to ball. Kirk at the bottom. Bounce.
He'll be important, Watson, tonight. This is his style of game. It's a little bit dewy. Ball's going to be on the ground. Can naturally find the ball.
He's had 6 possessions already.
Fosdyke. Still in play. And another throw in.
He's been a very good player so far tonight, Fosdyke.
Well, he's Mr. Consistency, isn't he? Very rarely plays a bad game. Had a ripping grand final back in 2005. 26 touches from memory in the grand final. There's the ball's kick to half back for Essendon. There's a push. Got away with it. Buchanan. Good tackle by Lloyd, but the umpire deemed it was high. Bit stiff there, Matthew Lloyd.
It's interesting, Michael. Essendon are pushing some numbers back here. They're really playing a lot less men in their forward line than normal.
The last couple of weeks they've done that with success.
Gee, Kennelly, not much science in that kick. Barry Hall helplessly behind as Michael and Jason Johnson.
Now, that's gone out of
Davey.
bounds. You can't tell me that's any different to the kick out the other side.
It was, Blighty, because
He was trying to kick to
an
his
Essendon
teammate.
player there, and before there was only a Sydney Swans player on the wing. It was a deliberate out of bounds. I'm not saying it's right, Blighty. I'm just saying that's the interpretation.
Tonight here. We have to cancel drinks after the game. look. See that one?
No one there.
Nah.
Still living in the 80s, Blighty.
Oh,
It was the 70s.
at least I live.
Hill over the top of it. Here's Adam Goulds. Gee, the conditions are playing a big part, aren't they, in footing and ball handling. Although Leo Barry makes a mockery of that comment. Bevan, it's open for once for the Swans. There's only one extra number back. Well, actually two extra numbers back. Nash and McPhee are standing in front as the Swans go through O'Keefe. Can they get a man to find for a marking option? Jolly's back in the square. He's the most likely they're going to go long. I think they'll be sick of that, though. They'll try and maybe hit a lead-up target. No, couldn't do that. Has to go for Hall versus Michael. Got the touch then, Barry Hall, but just couldn't get the second one.
So, why would you kick it out there? I know you're trying to get Barry Hall in the game, probably, but I mean, it's such a wide kick to a nothing spot.
And there's James Hird, who for most of this game has been playing behind the ball as an extra number in defence, making Ablett go with him, congesting the Sydney forward line.
Everett, beautiful tap out the back door. And the kick from Schneider is touched. Jeez, it was a wonderful tap from Everett. Great ruck work. Schneider read it beautifully. Look at this, just out the back door.
I'd have to say that Fletcher has done that more than any other player I've ever seen. Punched the ball through the behinds. Is there a record on that? There's got to be a stat on that, isn't there? I think he's got the world record.
Off comes Jolly with claret out of the nose. And Nick Davis replaces him. So,
Geez, still plenty of time in the first quarter, isn't
Yes,
it?
there is, yeah. And there's a big huddle too in the middle. Essendon, there we can see that now.
And Sydney circling him, wait for him to come out.
You always want to get the easy one here, Michael, I suppose, when this is on?
Just out in the back pocket, mate.
Yeah, that's it. That would have been you. Number 10 too.
Wait, Mick. Play on.
McVeigh, boy, that is flirting with danger. McVeigh actually ran away from that. The Swans player was so concerned with staying on his man that he may have just missed a moment there, and the Bombers dodge a bullet. McPhee, who's been prominent so far, as has Mark Johnson. They all have, really.
Oh, look at
McVeigh.
this. Look at this.
Yeah, it's opened up for Fletcher. We know how far he can kick it, so Hill working really hard, busting a gut across centre half forward to be the next target. Well, Fletcher didn't go to him. Instead, he went to Slattery, who applies a great tackle. He applies more tackles than Elwyn Davey to Slattery, the Gary O'Donnell lookalike Blighty, and he was doing the business there.
Right now. Play on.
Didn't want to kick though. Got it across to Winderlick, and unfortunately he couldn't find his man either. O'Keefe's got O'Loughlin a long way from home. Again, Ryder with backing his instincts and using Hird now. And that's a beautiful looking ball on the bounce for Lloyd, who got onto his left as quick as he could. Lucas will do the same. Forced a handball, so he was under a fair bit of pressure, obviously. Malcheski. Oh. Bombers.
Great hit.
Yeah, that's
great. Except if you're Malcheski.
And he's still down.
Oh, well, it happens.
Feeling it. Everett Bolton, now Ben Matthews on the other side. Another experienced Swans player who's had his troubles in the last couple of years, Ben Matthews, with his form and fitness, but he's found his place back in the side again this year quite nicely and has played every game. Here's Jared McVeigh, who has had a haircut during the week. He had an interesting do last week. Now Richards.
And this is where teams against Sydney have been just folding back into defence to try and get numbers back because of their very, very dangerous forward line.
Doctor out to Malcheski, doesn't want to come off. Dempster runs to the 50, he might go all the way himself. It's a thumping kick. Oh, that's a great goal from Sean Dempster. Gee, made that look easy, didn't he?
You know,
Great skills in that modern game. Running full tilt, kicks the 55-metre goal.
Yes, we saw one earlier when we mentioned about young Jason Winderlick deciding somewhere in the 50-metre arc to do it, and he just had one. And I love blokes that love kicking goals. I reckon you've got to be a touch greedy sometimes, Michael, to be a good goal kicker.
Absolutely, I do agree with that.
Nick Malcheski, okay. Just have another look at the bump from Bolton.
Beauty.
Good old-fashioned hip and shoulder.
Ripper.
Good to see Dempster kicking a goal too, Voss. He's only kicked 2 for the year. He runs well and he can kick well. He just doesn't get a lot of the footy. So see what he can do for the rest of the night. This man gets plenty of it. Out of the middle usually too. Watson almost was on the dish for Welsh. No free kick. Ablett flat-footed but had it under control. And so too did Kennelly. And now they can go. They're looking a bit better. A bit more toe and run about them. Bolton O'Loughlin. Again, he tried to duck under Ryder. You thought he had him where he wanted to have him, but Ryder's got the long arms.
Geez, attacking the ball, Ryder, though. He's really going for it, backing himself in.
Showing a clean pair of heels at the moment. O'Loughlin only the 2 possessions. Snyder for Davis again. Not very high percentage stuff, is it, in terms of trying to A, hit a target and B, kick a goal.
Well, that's their space they like to keep, though, the Swans. They don't mind keeping the outside space open for their teammates to lead into.
Wanted a free there, the Swans fans.
That's a push in the side. It's probably more illegal than putting a hand on a back rather than pushing a hand.
Laycock against Everett. Everett tapped it to himself. Got the handball out. Davis from the impossible angle. But he loves these. That's why. Great goal.
He doesn't have an impossible angle, Stephen.
You know better than most, I know.
Well, we're just talking before. Sometimes you've got to be selfish to be a good goal kicker, Blighty.
But it's a nice. It's not a selfish.
No,
is it?
not a selfish.
Yeah.
We need to correct ourselves there. I know what you mean.
Yeah, you've got to be a touch greedy is probably a better word, isn't it? You've got to see 2 options and then take the right one.
Yeah.
And this bloke does.
Yeah.
And he's got a premiership medallion around his head after playing Geelong, I think it was, Hutto, wasn't it? And put him in final up here.
Can't remember, Blighty.
And to be honest, percentages say that the ball in his hands is more likely to kick a goal.
It's only 10
you don't
points
mind in his hands.
Only 10 points of difference now.
So it is. Laycock gets his turn, and it was almost a beautiful tap. Heard just couldn't quite get the read on it. And it was interesting, Blighty, you talked about who Ablett would play in, didn't you, in the opener?
Yeah.
And it was James Hird, as you thought it might be. Hird's had the 4 touches, got most of them early.
If you remember, I was actually hoping to see Ablett just play a game, but I mean, Hird's the obvious one, isn't he? Yeah.
Most of the Swans midfielders have a defensive role, don't they, in some way or another. Monfrey's bundling it out, and again Watson. He finished like a train last week. Had 9 possessions in the last 11 minutes of that game.
Here's a hypothetical. It's the first quarter of round 10, but is James Hird's form right now as good as the last 3 or 4 years he's played?
I think it's the second highest, most prolific season he's had.
Yeah.
And the question was actually asked of Kevin Sheedy during the week, could he play on again next year? Sheed said no, but if he's still playing like this in round 22 and Essendon go all right.
I remember Michael Tuck saying he had a bad year when he was 33 and he went to 38 and it was very good.
And got sacked.
Oh, yeah.
Could he go on, Fossey, do you reckon, another year?
Well, he could, but sometimes when that mind's been made up, there's sometimes no return.
Is that right? Could just stay on a list for a year, couldn't he, I suppose, and see how much he could make? Might be joking, Michael.
Very nice, Hunter.
Barry streaming forward. McVeigh.
Played.
From one McVeigh to another, but they're not on the same team. Floating again is McPhee. So the Swans trying to put the pressure on here, but the Bombers standing for him. This is Jay Nash, late inclusion. Goes for Hird again. Plenty in the way. Look at Davey trying to weave something through there. Ablett, poor handball, and his direct opponent might just kick. Are behind. I just officially apologise to you, Michael.
That's right, mate. We're going to start sledging in the commentary
There was
box.
no malice intended.
We're going to start sledging in the commentary box.
I'll just split this up and say Anthony Hudson is a beauty at bagging you and then going straight on with the play. Get used to it.
I won't open mouth again, I'm sorry. Yours, Stephen.
Didn't like the way he looked at you. Those eyes started rolling. You knew straight away you had to back down.
Well, he had an operation on his finger during the week, and he's been on some medication since, so his eyes have been rolling already.
McVeigh for the Swans. Looks for Hall. Double teamed. Well snared by Laycock. So Essendon out of trouble again. High ball back to the wing. No Mark Malcheski, but the Swans had the numbers. Dempster. To Leo Barry. What's he going to do with it? Gives it back to Dempster. Alwyn Davey won't give up. He's got to beat 3 Swans.
Ringa-ringa-rosy.
Bolton back to Barry. And now out wide to Malcheski. So he signals his intention. He goes for Hall. He didn't fly for it in the end, but gets it anyway off the hands. Hall shorts it. O'Loughlin dropped it. Still in possession, now loses it. Mel Michael. Over the top to Lucas, who's gone into defence. A sweeping kick.
I bet you Mel Michael's hoping that this ball doesn't come in quickly. He's stuffed.
Leo Barry to
Pretty tight
Malcheski.
as well.
He usually uses it well. Just got rid of the handball in time. Bolton. Good kick, and he finds Richards. 60 metres out.
There he is. Mel was blowing when that ball left the area.
So Richards, would have been a good kick 3 or 4 years ago. Not now. Welsh to Lucas.
So they've got 55 seconds here, the Bombers. Wouldn't they dearly love one more? Stanton working hard for him.
You have to wait for the Indians to come in. The Swans have got a few back here at the moment.
Just holding their defence really, aren't they, at the moment? Jason Johnson up on the wing. It's complete opposite was a moment ago with all the numbers now.
What about a 30-second warning when they do this, that they then go forward and do that one last shot at goal, you know, in the last 30 seconds? Don't you reckon we should have 2 sirens? One just 30 seconds, so we don't have to watch this stuff.
There you go. That's
30-second shot clock.
Yeah, 30-second kick clock. Kick clock. Kick clock. Wow.
Lucas goes to Lloyd. Is that a mark? No.
It's been a good quarter, hasn't
It
it?
has. Quarters, yes. 5-1 plays 3-2. Jolly and Laycock. And at the end of it, the Bombers will be very happy, not only because they lead by 11, but the Swans have not won a game this year when they've been behind at quarter time.
Your thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, it's, I just think what you've got there was 2 halves in the quarter. The Bombers were great early. The Swans fought back as we knew they would. And it is a really good game. It's free-flowing. Hasn't been as blocked up as many might have thought. But fascinating first quarter.
Round 10 SCG, quarter time. Essendon leads Sydney by 11 points. Great stuff from the Bombers in that first quarter, and you don't see Paul Roos animated like that, particularly in the first quarter. Essendon got the first 4 of the match. They lead 5-1-31 to 3-2-20, the margin 11 points. And the good news for the Bombers is they managed to keep the Swans' big guns, O'Loughlin and Hall, very quiet in that first quarter. But it's the Bombers by 11.
His indefinite omission likely to be seen as the beginning of the end of his time in the Lions' den.
I don't like regrets, I reckon they're for fools.
Due to his lack of form and his inability to meet team disciplines, standards and expectations, we have decided to take this action.
I reckon I'll be nervous until I can get into the warm-up.
He's got his first for the Loggies.
But he's so much bigger than me. Like most blokes, if I get ahead of steam and I'm in the way, I'm just going to have to try and hang on and make a tackle or something.
It's got him.
Be watching Channel 10 next Saturday night when I catch up with some of my old teammates.
Oh, yeah.
Acker takes on the world against the Brisbane Lions next week. That will be something to tune into.
Any chance of a comeback, Michael, for you for a win?
Not the way I'm looking with this finger at the moment, Quarters, I can tell you.
Just to ask you a quick question. Sorry,
Yeah, go,
Stephen. Acker's got a game to play this weekend. He's not taking it one game at a time anymore.
He's never done that.
So, there's Paddy Ryder, had a wonderful first quarter. Michael O'Loughlin just the 2 disposals. Jolly's cleaned the blood off his face, and happy birthday to that man, David Hill, 26 today. We start the second term. Bolton's in the middle.
Oh, well done.
Knock it out, knock it out.
Buchanan
Well done.
just forced it forward only as far as Stanton. He dished it off to Jason Johnson. Looking for Watson. Good effort by Schneider to spoil. Kirk's handball missed the target. Pouncing is Davey. Should have had a shot. Goes into the pocket to Lloyd. Lucas just lost his footing. Suck it off the ground. It's a goal anyway to Watson.
Been good,
What a
Watson.
start,
Been
yeah.
good, Watson. He's had now 10 possessions, 4 clearances for the game. He's been very, very good, and that man could step on glass. He's just phenomenal the way he moves. But just very good hands there by Lloyd to get the ball going forward and then off the ground. But Watson has been very, very good in the early part of this game.
Interesting, Michael. As far as time on the ground goes, Joe Watson is #1 in the competition for averaging disposals. He gets one every 3 minutes and 10 seconds he's on the ground, which is ranks him 1 in the AFL.
Well, he was the key player that turned that game around last week for Essendon. His ability out of the middle was extraordinary.
Well, there's Hill involved again, trying to farm it down, but good strong work from Richards, trying to get it into the path for the Swans runners to get involved, but Watson's got other ideas. As I said, 10 possessions, 4 clearances for Joe Watson.
Well, he's now got Kirk, I think, which he had Bolton early, and now Kirk has moved on to him, so that's a respect Swans now have for him.
Well, Kirk, of course, shut Scotty West down last week, so he can shut most out of the game if he puts his mind to it. Fosdyke, one of the more prominent Swans tonight. O'Loughlin's got his issues down there with the taller rider and the younger rider. Again, it's Davis that tries to get and help out. Stanton McVeigh got whipped a ball just on the wrong side of the post.
Fletcher wastes no time. Quick kick into McVeigh. And he's got a paddock here.
Nowhere to go, though.
2 bounces. Now goes short. It's a shocker. Straight to Richards. So bad turnover there for Essendon.
Well, they used to play with him, so he's going to pick him out occasionally.
Richards to the pocket. Buchanan used the body beautifully. Still got the footy. Somehow, this could be one of the goals of the season. He screws it around and he's let me down. Out on the full.
But it was a beautiful call, though, Stephen.
Oh, I bet you were singing of that 2 quarters when he was doing that. Better not let quarters down.
Yeah, that's where he said it. Oh, Quarters will be spewing. And Roosie said it as well.
said it too.
Oh, how will Quarters be feeling? Jason Johnson, hang on, what's going on? It's got to come back. Back to Dustin Fletcher.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a truism, though. You've got to take your chances. You know, and those are almost gimme chances, aren't they? And you can't keep doing that. Teams get frustrated, players get frustrated, and obviously coaches get frustrated.
Big huddle in the middle of the ground now. Essendon starting to break the open side.
And Winderlich is the man who's got the pace to do it. He had Monfries to this side, ignored him though, and as you can see, goes via Watson to McVeigh, so they're trying to think their way through here, the Bombers. Now the run comes at centre half forward. Couple of options, one of them Welsh. Good spot on target he was. Jason Johnson, Lucas and Lloyd both there, and that man Bolton over to Lloyd, and that's a pretty simple one. Well done by Mark Bolton, and they run to him.
Critical in that passage of play was that little handball to Johnson right there. Now, if they went back behind the man on the mark, there would have been a massive numbers that got into Essendon's forward line, but they didn't get the chance through that little flick on of a handball, which gave Lloyd that space.
Matthew Lloyd gets his second, and Mark Bolton is playing a great game for the Bombers. He's only played in 2 winning matches in the last 22 times he's represented Essendon. So he's due, and he's doing his job well and truly tonight so far.
I think we'll get back to Mark Bolton. You've got to ask how has that happened and what we've seen tonight.
Here's the birthday boy, David Hill. Beautiful handball to Hurd. Kicks into the pocket.
Just, Stephen, it's an interesting point that with Mark Bolton, isn't it? Is he much maligned? Probably
Oh,
is.
very much so, particularly by his own supporters.
So what we've seen tonight, he's as good a player on the ground tonight.
Yeah.
He's got the job, though, on goods tonight, hasn't he? And he's the perfect player to play him because he has that running ability to just keep up with Adam Goods, which not that many other players have. O'Keefe for O'Loughlin, who's finding himself further and further up the ground to get away and try and get clear and shake Paddy Ryder. Now Kerr. The Swans have got Nick Davis playing out of the goal square at the moment. If they can get it down there, he's one-on-one. Hall working across centre half forward as he does so often. Meantime, they're kicking it to waxing through the middle, the Swans. Kirk has got Jared McVeigh short if he wants him. Still, it's Davis deep, and Fletcher for the Bombers is just patrolling about 30 to 40 out from goal in case the kick goes into Davis. So they've allowed that lead up for O'Loughlin. And now, well, Essendon weren't able to cover the one just inside the 50. So this is Snyder on the wrong side for a left footer. 9 goals, 5 for the season. Jolly's been able to take a couple of marks deep this year, not that time. Richards, McPhee, Hill, Monfries. Now the initial call
Hang on to
was
him too long in the tackle. Yeah.
Teddy Richards, who wants to lay it off. Could go back to Nick Davis, which wouldn't be a bad option. And he blew that. Now he's a beautiful kick, we know, both in accuracy and in distance, so this is not beyond him.
No, go back, have a shot. It's crowded up, nothing gone. Back yourself in, he's a good kick.
He's done the look, Blighty, just to cover that off. No, that won't be a goal. Jolly got buffeted out in there, but Mel Michael, sturdy defence for the Bombers, goes for one of those Mel Michael torps. And it pitched on the end there, and that gives Goods the opportunity. Got the accommodating bounce, and again Bolton was there to hassle. And again he's had an influence on Johnson's going to get the free. And there's no advantage.
No advantage.
And while the ball comes back, Neil Cordy with a report on James Heard, who got a lot of treatment at quarter time.
Yeah, that's right, Quarters. You see James come off the ground a couple of minutes ago, and he spent most of the quarter time break working on his groin. So obviously a problem there.
And James Heard is going into the rooms, so whether that's for more treatment or perhaps even a pain-killing injection, we're not sure. But Heard into the rooms. So blow for the Bombers. Oh, gee, that is a very high tackle, and that might get him reported.
50 high. Let's go.
No report, but a 50-metre penalty. Ryan O'Keefe. Right over the top of Winderlick's scone. And probably the umpires made the right call there. No report, but a 50-metre penalty for the late contact.
Yeah.
The ball hung in the air for a long time, didn't it? And that's what probably made him think he could get there.
I don't...
He's taking a one grab and then you've hit him in the head. So that's why we're paying 50, okay?
I reckon that's...
Stay away from his bonds.
Good decision.
Fair enough.
Stay away from his bonds.
Good explanation.
So Winderlick still feeling the after effects. Well within range now.
The crowd caught a shot of him doing that, I think, and they started to give him a few raspberries.
This to make it 28 points of difference. Jason Winderlick has missed.
Now the crowd getting a good Saturday night entertainment here, but it's not quite going the way they expected. With the Bombers trying to consolidate on their excellent opening quarter. Craig Bolton, but there's just no fluency about the Swans at the moment, is there? We obviously know they don't mind taking the pace off the game. But finding the links in the chain is what it's all about. And suddenly Bolton's going to have to kick a fairly long way to try and find a man. And Lucas and the Bombers, that's a tendency of the Bombers tonight. They've really led Sydney to the ball. We've seen Ryder do it consistently against O'Loughlin, and others also sharing it around the ground in the same manner.
We've seen a few players drop balls too. It's just starting to get that slippery. Michael, you've played here a lot recently. At night time, does get slippery?
It does get slippery here, and it was very muddy on the boundary line before the game, so it gets rather wet. Even though it's not raining, it does get very wet.
And a lot of these grounds, of course, now becoming amphitheatres. Like most of them look the same. This one's going to end up looking the same too. and doesn't get a lot of sun some places.
Well, that's the norm for a lot of stadiums today, isn't it?
Yes, it's climate talk. We're right up with it.
Yeah, we are. We're at the top of it today, Blighty.
So advantage paid here as Schneider's away. Kicks to Goods, who chipped in front of Hall and spilt the beans. The Swans forwards aren't firing today. Richards did well to intercept. Got it to Fosdyke. Clever tap back to O'Keefe from a standing start into the pocket. Goods backs back.
Well done.
Davis couldn't quite protect his teammate. Tried his best. Didn't quite come off, and now the Bombers away as Winderlick kicks out wide to McPhee. And he can go for a trot to Fletcher. Now Mark Johnson chips into the middle to Winderlick.
Yeah, both teams at 19 inside 50, so it's certainly been up and down the ground, hasn't it? Hasn't been there's been occasional flooding, but pretty good movement.
Goods getting some treatment, as we saw there.
Doctor coming out for Goods as well.
He was very brave then when he went back.
Not got a poke in the eye.
You've got your wish, Blighty. You've got him at full forward now, anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good. We'll see what happens.
Laycock to Lloyd in the pocket. Third man up. Swans went out. Ablett to Kirk. Disposal number 10 for the co-captain. And it's a good one as he finds Buchanan. Off to Schneider.
There's a big chance to get it here, one-on-one.
Here's a chance for Hall. He's found some space in front of Michael, but the boundary line beats him. And let's have a look at the Adam Goods incident. Just backing back.
It was brave.
It was. Davis just couldn't quite... Oh, yeah, and it's the finger in the eye from Bolton. Actually, probably a free kick, wasn't it?
Yep.
Laycock doing the ruck work from behind. Again, Watson and McVeigh were able to make sure that the takeaway was Essendon's. Just slightly off target. Lucas tries to make it good. Bolton didn't push him in the back. He was careful. That was good play. And they got the free and the advantage. And Malcheski, we know he can kick beautifully. Another scorcher for Nick Davis, who will line up for the Sydney Swans. And he seems to be their most potent forward at the moment. Barry Hall, as we see Lucas there, just getting a bit of a shove, but turning it over. Well played by Craig Bolton. Barry Hall has only had one touch tonight, Blighty.
Yeah. He's been a bit stiff a few times. He's still working. I mean, he's...
Yeah. It's their first genuine set shot for the night. Nick Davis had the one a few moments ago from outside 50, but this one is in range, and it's online, and that's all that matters.
Well, they're hanging in there, Sydney. They're just staying in touch on the scoreboard because they're being outplayed in most areas of the game at the moment. Essendon are playing very well. But it was the turnover that cost there. Nick Davis was able to pop up forward of the ball by himself and finish it like we know that he can. But they're just staying in touch, which is dangerous.
Jolly prepares to come back on for Sydney. They're down by 17. There's Big Spider ready to contest the centre bounce. He'll be up against Laycock. Bounce favours Big Spider, who just smashes it forward. Richards read it well to Buchanan. Handball partially smothered, but Everett gets it. Little chip kick to Matthews. This is better movement from Sydney. Buchanan squares it up. Hall's out of position. Big pack fly. Hall stayed down. Good tackle by McPhee. McVeigh, little give to Jason Johnson. And that's a good effort by the Bombers. It was tough and tight in there, and they are well and truly out of trouble, and now they're on the attack.
They are. Laycock teaming up with the advancing. Oh, that's a wide kick from Stanton, but Monfries is able to hang on for dear life. Just inside the line.
Angle's right there.
Laycock was interesting then. I've been watching him for a while. He actually ran to a dangerous position. The ball had well have gone past him. So he actually got an easy kick, which is good.
Swans have got the numbers back there. Everett had to mark it, and he did. Swans ruckman just starting to get a little bit more on top in terms of the ruck contest. And Everett's 7th possession gets it safely to Leo Barry, who finds Matthews, and the Swans ever so slowly just getting better, aren't they? And
well, they're working their way back into the game like they do. They just slow the game down a little bit, get back on their terms, play it the way they want to, chip it around, get the feel of the game, get the tempo back, and then they go from there again.
So Everett getting his hands on the footy. As Goods is off for a break. Schneider into the pocket. Hall. Well done, Fletcher. Those Inspector Gadget arms again got hand on the football. Buchanan ducked the tackle nicely from the boundary line. Kicks to the tip of the goal square. McPhee sees it safely over.
Talking about players that have had fantastic years, Fletcher, has he had a better year? I mean, he has been awesome in the first part of this year.
Averaging 24 disposals, 8 marks and 7 rebound 50s. There's Dustin Fletcher at 32 years of age. McVeigh's having a good night. That's his 14th disposal to the wing. Lloyd can't take the slider. Leo Barry's there, kept his feet. Did well over to Malcheski, who tried to slap it towards Jolly.
This is a pretty interesting stage of this game now. Dangerous time for both teams. 2 or 3 goals here from one team or another could really break the game open or get the Swans right back in it.
Been good, Winderlich. 11 possessions tonight. He's having a wonderful season in terms of the rest of his career. This looks like it will be the breakout season for Jason Winderlich, but still plenty of matches to go, obviously. Bolton sliding in over the top and holding the ball.
You dived on it, Jude! Give it up now! You dived on it, mate!
Been 11 free kicks to 4 in favour of the Swans. As Hurd returns or about to return to battle. This is Nash. Mark hasn't been paid. And it wasn't a great kick. Bolton couldn't take the mark. Mark Johnson, Matthews, Bolton, O'Keefe. All at close quarters, the Swans. They can do that, can't they? And suddenly they can break loose. And suddenly they got options presenting on the wing. Like Buchanan and like Hall. His second possession. Back to Buchanan. Will he have enough energy to go all the way here? Enough energy to be online? No.
I was thinking of you again, Quarters.
Your man's let you down.
Gee whiz, they've just had a few freebies, I reckon, the Swans, and just haven't nailed them.
Ryder finds Hooley.
Michael, I reckon they've had 3 gimmies, you know, gimme whatever. Essendon haven't missed any yet.
No, not yet, and that can turn, we know, but at the moment it's going in Essendon's favour. And Essendon, well, Sydney in there certainly, when they were playing very good football over the last couple of years, have been a very accurate team with their scoring opportunities.
Hills found 15 metres on Everett, takes the mark, plays on to the 50, Mark Johnson. And Goods is back on, so he's over that poke in the eye. And they'll have a throw in, 49 metres out from the Bombers' goal. They lead by 17, kick the first 4 goals of the match.
There's the tackling, Essendon 19, the Swans 9.
Jolly the tack did it nicely to Jude Bolton. Malcheski backed himself, just released in time. Good forward pressure from the Bombers. Umpire letting it go. Let's go down to Neil Cordy.
Yes, James Hurd, whether he's had the jab or not, we don't know, but he's back on the ground and moving reasonably freely.
That tackle stat interesting. Sydney 3rd for tackles in the competition, Essendon 15th. So they've obviously made that a focus tonight. As sides try to against the Swans, but often find it difficult. Again, they're locking it in. And again, it's a ball up. Just a bit more on the big 4 tonight. Lloyd, Lucas, Hall and O'Loughlin. They average between them about 11 goals a game. They've only kicked 2, sorry. That's the 2 goals to Matthew Lloyd. So Lucas hasn't found a goal either. And neither has Hall or O'Loughlin for the Swans. So it's a tough night for forwards at the moment, the key forwards. Swans not able to break loose.
Now, that hit away there, Michael, that would be deliberate, would it not? Isn't it? What else did he try and do?
I have no answer for you, Blighty.
He was under pressure at the time, though, Blighty, which you've got to take that into account.
Right.
Now, the Essendon players have been reading it off Swans' hands for most of the night, off the Swans' ruckman's hands. They've been very good at it.
Matthews put Sydney inside 50. Fletcher's there again, just lost his footing. That's a bit of a tough call, I reckon.
Take more care, you hit him in the head. Play on.
Michael. Clever kick over to Ryder. Kicks towards Lloyd, who's propped over his head. Lucas. And Mark Johnson, a little daisy cutter. Didn't quite come off. Hooley does the roving. kept the ball alive. Beg your pardon, O'Keefe is there, and in a tight space he mops up. Malcheski's handball was dodgy, but Sydney have weight of numbers and they win out. Good teamwork. Falstyke into the middle of Hall. Hall dishes off. Back to O'Keefe, who kept on running. Bevan's there against McPhee. Free kick.
No, stop. You weren't? No. You were looking at the footy? You weren't looking at the footy? Enough.
Look, just I'll just mention something here. Prior to this happening, whether it was a free kick or not, he's paid it, so it doesn't matter. McPhee should have read the ball was going to come from that side. He should have got the other side much. I watched the actual movement. He just moved too slow.
So Bevan, important kick, and it's a 50-metre penalty. Now Michael went straight over the mark. Didn't matter, it's a goal.
No, mate, you didn't look at the footy.
Just follow that up a bit. As the Swans broke away across half-back then, in typical play, McPhee started and just observed for a while rather than run to that side, just get him behind. It was quite interesting, actually. He was quite slow to move. So then he found himself in a very awkward position. So whether the free kick was there, it's pretty technical. I guess to some degree it was.
Well, after classic Sydney play of turning defence, there's the free kick. I have to say it's not there because the Sydney Swans player was grabbing Adam McPhee. Wasn't there, but it's been paid. Understand the argument.
So it's back to 11 then. Hill again able to get the tap. He's having a pretty good night. Bevan, the last goal kicker, made Jason Johnson feel it. And the Swans just starting to get that all-important momentum. Dempster sharing it. Kennelly hasn't really given them the run and drive that they would have desired tonight. Jolly. Crossy goes again to Schneider. O'Loughlin. We've seen tonight the Riders had him covered in that situation. Not this time. O'Loughlin. Hall. Can he lift as well? Free kick. That won't make Big Bad Barry happy. Try not to call him that because he doesn't like it, but he is big and sometimes he's bad. Not too often anymore. There's the replay. Now play continues. Lucas for Davey. Just lingered maybe a fraction too long and lets the Swans in. Kirk. Richards. Gotta watch out. O'Keefe. Jared McVeigh. Paul and Fletcher post to each other inside the 50. O'Keefe kept on coming and it's all Bombers. They might spoil each other if they weren't careful. The Johnsons it was, and it's Jason that's got it.
Free kick to Hurd. Buchanan's had 10 touches this quarter for Sydney. Fletcher's had 9 for Essendon. Free kick to the Essendon chant, deep in defence. Jason Johnson.
I think McPhee might be coming off the ground for the Bombers. Not sure about that.
Not 15, so play on.
You get the sense this game's tightened up. The Swans just tightening the screws a little bit.
And Essendon just slowing down the tempo. As Jason Johnson goes out wide, not a great option. Ted Richards has got the legs on Laycock. He'll try and take him on. Handballs to Davis. Bit of fancy footwork. Eventually he breaks clear. Now kicks in the pocket to Hall. Michael just zoned off him. Good tackle, free kick. Well done, no, Michael.
He had 2 to cover there, Mel Michael. O'Loughlin was back in the goal square. He covered for Fletcher. He left his man, went to Hall and made this very important tackle.
Abusive language, 50-metre penalty.
He's saying he got boot to ball.
And he did.
Did look like he might have got a little bit of leather to it, didn't it?
Yes, he did.
That was great play by Mel Michael. Well done.
There's just a little bit of niggle in this game now, isn't there, too? So the team that focuses on what they've got to do, important.
Paddy Ryder. Backing back bravely was Bevan, but no mark. Well done by Owen Davey. Ty Kennelly cleans up for Sydney and kicks to Jolly. Darren Jolly. Kicks to a contest. Jude Bolton, that's almost a good mark, not quite. Got it to ground. O'Loughlin Now Nash. And we'll have another throw in. It has well and truly tightened up. It's 11 points of difference. That was the margin at quarter time.
And there's Bevan going back with a fly to the ball. Ben Fixter is now at the Brisbane Lions. We call him Mad Dog. And apparently the Sydney Swans used to love seeing those two players matching up against one another in training because they're completely as mad as one another. And you can see why with Bevan just throwing his body everywhere.
Melcheski.
Mad as in competitive, Michael.
Mad, competitive, whatever you like.
Kirk, who's tightened up, hasn't he, on Watson. Watson now has 11 possessions in the game. He'd started on fire in the opening term. There's Monfries. It's into a dangerous spot either way. Herbert can get clean possession here. Might have a scoring chance. Windley, Stanton. He's gone for the space. Just couldn't quite get it right. The logistics that time, though. And it was beyond Laycock. Swans not out of danger yet because you just got to be so careful with this greasy pill. Oh, and there's another example. Melcheski. Lucky he had some freedom. He'll relish that under the circumstances. McVeigh to half forward. It's Davis coming out. Fletcher. It's not dead yet. Nick Davis. 2 to beat, and that was fantastic play. Great vision. Dempster kicked a great goal earlier. Still it's alive. Hall. Kirk stands up and hits the post.
Those post quarters.
Well, they're fat posts, Michael.
They are fat. The fattest in the AFL, they are.
No, timber's bigger these days, Michael. We know everything's bigger.
Everything?
Jason Johnson to McVeigh. Trying to turn his opponent inside out unsuccessfully.
15.
And it's a free kick against Hill for kicking the ball away. Things just getting a little bit feisty, which we love.
It's got all the hallmarks tonight,
Crowd's
hasn't
found
it?
its voice.
And the crowd is right into it now, aren't they? They are very noisy.
Oh, lapsing concentration. Oh, so that was luckily Mel Michael because he lapsed concentration there and Hall got away from him.
Well, Schneider's within range here. He's going to be kicking from right on 50. Nice wind-up from the Schneider man. He could nail this. He's kicked 9 goals, 5 this season. From right on 50, he loads up with the left. Not a problem at all.
At least he didn't let you down, Stephen.
No, and it's been since the Swans are the ones coming, and Essendon just trying to hang on here. Really can't get the ball on their forward line with any precision. Swans haven't been super clean. However, they've now kicked that important goal that gets them back within a kick.
Hope you're enjoying another Saturday night at the footy at the SCG and things just warming up. The Swans could be in front by half-time. They've got a minute and a half to try and kick another goal. Kirk, and here's Goods. He's moving. O'Loughlin umpires in the road for a moment. And O'Loughlin filled that space, takes the mark, and this for the lead.
Being competitive at the coalface, Sydney, this quarter. Winning the contested ball, getting their hands on it, being much more proactive around those areas of the ground. Kirk leading the way.
They're 3 straight from set shots, the Swans. So far tonight, he's kicked 8 goals over the last 2 weeks. We know he was struggling with Ryder earlier in the night, but just starting to find some of his best form again, and that is going to go mighty close. And the Swans in front.
Well, I mentioned about 8 or 10 minutes ago that you can just sense something one way or the other, and it's Sydney that have reacted to all this and started getting some ball out the middle. And it's interesting when your champs touch it, how often goals would come out of it. And lovely kick there from Michael O'Loughlin, who has struggled with a rider, but it's a lovely kick.
Kevin Sheedy watches on. His team has lost the lead. A sellout crowd at the SCG, and boy, has the crowd found its voice.
See the hit-outs. The Swans are on top as we expected, but the clearances are actually level at 18 all, so the Bombers haven't done a bad job. We'll be watching that closely in the second half.
Hill the tap. Ablett fed it out to Goods. Might be a chance for another one here for the Swans. Mark, though, taken by Welsh. As Ablett still on the ground in the middle. Got a heavy hit. And it's very ginger. Push in the back. It's against Schneider. It's going to McVeigh. And he's okay, Ablett. Mark McVeigh. So the Bombers probably going to just ice the clock here. So it's only a 2-point ball game as Fletcher goes out wide to Ryder. Looks for Stanton. Not quite. And that's going to be at half-time in a very entertaining game of football. Sydney 46, Essendon 44, Malcolm Blight and Michael Voss.
Well, they've certainly been more competitive at the coalface. They're getting their hands on it. Kirk certainly leading the way. Buchanan also. The battle of defences. Sydney were able to get in 19 inside 50s to 10 in that term. They slowed the game down. They got the game back on their terms after they got used to Essendon's tactics. And now we're in front by 2 points for the second half.
James Hird, that groin, he's starting this quarter.
Well, that's good. Both players back on the ground. There's Brett Kirk, Joe Watson.
Been a big match up too in that second quarter. Kirk got on top of Watson. Watson spent a bit of time off the ground. Watson only 2 possessions. Kirk 10.
So we're away in the third quarter. It's Sydney in front by just a couple of points. And a diving mark taken by Craig Bolton, All-Australian last year.
Play on! Play on! Play on! Play on!
So what's on offer for Bolton? Oh, that's a terrific mark, almost a terrific mark taken by Richardson, unpaid, but he won the ball for his team. Underground handball to Kirk from Schneider. Good pressure from the Bombers. McPhee into the corridor. Watson forced it forward. Here's Bolton. Good tackle by Keith. Clever tackle. Bolton did well to get boot to ball. Oh, good hip and shoulder by Welsh on Ablett. That'll shake him up again. And we'll have a bounce.
It's a pretty tough start, isn't it? It's some really good pressure in tight.
Good test for Ablett's ribs there.
Yeah, it's one of those. He got the point of the elbow, didn't he? That's just in the. Oh,
never nice.
Oh.
Gee, look at all those numbers around the ball. Huge congregation, and there's 2-on-2 back in the goal square. You can see McPhee trying to be involved as the third man up.
Nick Fosdyke. Play on.
Sydney ball, Melcheski. He's really making Spider Everett work for it here with Mel Michael bearing down. Hird. Hill. Michael again. And now McPhee. Good run for Stanton. Lloyd had a couple to contend with. Lucas had a pretty quiet old night. Welsh got some treatment.
It is high. It's on the shoulder, Lloyd. We know he's souped it up, but it's on the shoulder regardless, okay? It's a free kick. It's not a report, it's just a free kick.
So from the umpire tonight, we've had the bounce and souped it up.
He's got some good calls.
That's a top decision, actually, isn't it?
It is. Very, very smart decision.
Yeah, but
it was accurate.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, when he comes up and there's 5 stitches in his head, the umpire might think about what he says. I mean, you got to wait. I mean, he certainly got a knee in the head, didn't he? Whether he souped it up or not.
So Welsh.
God. Well, he's a medico too, that umpire. Get his number.
It's Ray Chamberlain, if you want to know.
Distance shouldn't be an issue here. Accuracy clearly will be.
He's got blurred vision too, Brody.
Who, Ray Chamberlain?
Well, Welsh after that contest because the goalpost must have moved.
Souped it up.
I'll let them be a bit human.
No, it's lovely. It's great.
Melcheski.
Despite other evidence.
It's turned it over. Jason Johnson just rid it a little bit better in the air. Stanton pops it up. Lloyd's there. Going to beat a couple. Leo Barry to Everett. That's a rush behind.
They haven't had a goal for half an hour of game time, the Bombers.
Sydney have been able to close them down. just getting the game back on their terms a little, being a bit more patient with their forward thrusts.
Nothing for Everett here. Maybe Barry over the top, which was on for him for a moment, but Spider didn't want that option. Going to have to swing it back, which they usually do so effectively. Kennelly.
It's man on man everywhere in front of them. Now we've just got a breakaway because one Essendon player got caught.
McVeigh.
Michael, how hard is that to stand a man when they've got the ball at the back like this and not chase your man? I mean, how hard is it? You just must just go to sleep.
Well, it's the only bit of it's that loss of concentration for a split second, and that second you can get you can get that 10-15 metres on your opponent.
Gee, Fosdyke really lost out there. He took his eye off the ball, thought there was someone else coming. The kick was intended for him, and McPhee and Mark Johnson just makes him look a little silly just because of the slipperiness of the ground. Able to clear. Gee, it was a very short pass to the very big man, just enough distance. Now Jason Johnson makes it almost impossible. Only James Hurd would be a chance there, but even he found the going impossible.
Hurd wanted the free kick, but there was none there. Now Schneider looks for Hall. Well, about the crowd love big bad Barry. Centering kick, no mark to Johnson. Mopping up as Fletcher sweeps the handball out wide to McPhee. There's a couple of bounces. Now works his way inside. Long kick is a beauty. Well done to Lloyd. That's great stuff from McPhee. 2 bounces, switch back inside to the corridor, and then the long penetrating passes hit his skipper on the chest.
That's the best bit of play, isn't it? That's just... It was coaches, you know, Michael, that didn't allow bouncing. Thought it disrupted the team. That's true.
Hawthorn in the 80s, you had a rule.
Yeah.
No bouncing.
Just the one bounce, and that was it.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you're 70 metres out, you couldn't bounce it twice and kick the goal.
Modified rules.
Matthew Lloyd's got a couple.
Fat post.
Yeah, that fat post, which Michael Voss before the game said are the fattest in the league. With theories like that, he's catching up to Malcolm Blight, isn't he?
Malcheski doesn't use his trusty left foot this time. Instead, Snyder will have to, and just holds on all right for Ablett. And now Barry, who couldn't get onto his trusty left. And caused some problems for Bolton, and as a result, chance for Essendon. Can they capitalise? Mark Johnson just kicked it as quickly as he could. Lucas in front. He's found the going tough down there in a pretty tight forward area. Somehow he kept it in. Brilliantly played. Hard for Davey, though. Certainly didn't have the height on his side. Was still in it on the ground, and he's not out of it yet, although Barry contrived that kick beautifully for Everett. Hall's going to scream for it at centre-half forward. If he can take it here, he could break. But instead, it's the Bombers surging. McVeigh for Winderlich. He's got blistering pace. Lets Lloyd come. Defers to his skipper. Too far out. Welsh, been important tonight. Stanton, not a noted great kick. Lloyd is, of course. And Slattery. No mark. No free kick. Bolton. Been deep in Essendon's attacking area, but this is a pretty trusty unit now, the Swans. They are steady under pressure, under fire from the Bombers, and they're able to escape again. Richards finds Nick Davis, and there's not an obvious avenue for them to get into attack. Scores level at the SCG Saturday night footy.
Just that finishing at the moment, Essendon just failing to find teammates. Just haven't executed the skills, and the Swans defence holding up here.
7-2 with the inside 50s is caught in favour of the Bombers. Haven't been able to score a goal. Matthews. McPhee's underneath it. Good mark, free kick, whatever you like.
Hands off, Lloyd, hands off. Play on, thank you.
Number 3 in the AFL this season in marks is McPhee. Bolton looks for Hill. Good mark. And he's off. Good athleticism from the big man as he looks for Lucas. Bolton's done a wonderful job on him, but that's a great mark by Lucas, who wheels around. A long left foot kick. His captain's one out. It is an absolutely magnificent kick.
That's understanding your teammates and knowing what they're going to do. Going inside your left-hand side, and Matty Lloyd doubled back and knew that's where the space it was going to go, and then ended up in that drop zone. It was just beautiful play.
How good was that from Lucas?
Oh, it was wonderful play by both players. The kick and the play there by Lucas, but then smart enough by Matty Lloyd to know your teammate and what he's going to do.
Well, Essendon has not kicked a goal for 35 minutes. Matthew Lloyd's kicked 2 goals and a poster. He's directly in front. He's 20 metres out. Should not miss this.
No. Of course not.
Gee, it's a talking point in footy at the moment, isn't it? The kicking. We saw Pavlich last night. 4 goals, 7. Chris Tarrant, of course. And Matthew Lloyd, normally just about as reliable as you can get in front of goal. Pressure gets to just about everyone at times.
Yeah, he's been a lovely kick over his journey. I don't reckon he's been 100% right either, you know, the last 2 or 3 weeks.
He's kicked 24-11 for the season. But he's had his injury worries, of course, this year.
Yeah.
Snyder gets them going. Here's Spider. From Snyder to Spider. Barry Hall pushing back to the square. He's got not just Mel Michael, but Hurd to contend to. Oh, Jude Bolton. It just was a little bit overcooked. And Spider goes off the ground. We know the Swans pretty good inside this situation, inside their forward 50. They are 3rd in the competition for clearances. And Hurd goes to ground. Jolly and Hill. Goods.
Holding Hilly, you're free. Arms around. Wrapped him up.
So Hill goes short to Fletcher. Long kick looking for Mark Johnson. And McPhee's lurking dangerously.
Good call that, Stephen. He ran a hard, ran a long way, did McPhee, to try and get at the back of that contest.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all.
Paul Rouge, the coach of the Swans, sees his team a point down as we near the halfway mark of the 3rd quarter. Gee, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, there's a mini fight going on because Goods is trying to get to James Hurd, and as a result gets the free kick. But Goods is trying to go to Hurd. Bolton is still trying to follow Goods.
Hurd pops it up.
Push. Took your eyes off the footy.
And it's going against Lloyd.
More care.
Gets up pretty gingerly. Here's the free kick.
Yay.
Didn't actually get to see that one, and there's the push. Geez, Leo Barry almost pushed Lloyd into his opponent. Bit lucky to get away with that one, the Swans. Lots of little spot fires happening off the ball at the moment with tagging and attempted tagging. Essendon get it. Hurd at half back into the middle. Winderlick, he's got some dash. Kicks towards Lloyd, getting back with immense courage was Ted Richards. Boy, that was brave. Lloyd again is outnumbered 3-1, but well done, Ted Richards. Gee, that took some courage because he knew Lloyd was coming. No mark to Bevan. He has another crack at it. To Jude Bolton, to Ablett, to Kirk. This is a tough, tight game now. Bevan, excellent handball out to Buchanan. That broke things up a little bit. Eamon Buchanan. Ran too far.
Scotty, yours.
And Scott McLaren pounced.
Oh, this is really good tight footy at the moment.
Gee, the Swans defence working overtime at the moment. 11 inside 50s to 4 for the quarter. It would have been if that had have gone inside 50, but it didn't.
No, presumption.
Malcolm, in your day, don't say that disparagingly,
no.
Did they run back with the flight of the ball as much as they do these days?
There's another free kick off the ball. The umpire's seen it. Adam Goods has decked James Hurd. James Hurd buckled the knees and got the free kick.
Look, the answer is probably yes. However, you can do it easier now as we're watching this.
And
because no one can charge you. So it's taken a bit of the fear out of it. Still has to do it. Still has to be courageous.
Well done by Ty Kennelly. To Kirk, back to Kennelly, to Bolton. This is good running from defence by the Sydney Swans. Melchesky though. The Swans have coughed it up now. Can they make them pay on the rebound? Lloyd's one out on this occasion. Leo Barry worked his way to the front. Oh, Davey caught one high. No, said the umpire, he's staged.
This is huge.
Good game at the moment. It is tight as tough as it can possibly be.
You know what the desperation might be here? Free kick.
Let's watch some of this, Blighty. This is really interesting, this Goods and Hurd.
I mean, he's nearly been reported just a few weeks back, Adam Goods. He has to be careful there.
This is the next one. And Hurd, he certainly accentuated that one. So,
well, it is, but that's what the umpire's going to pay.
Exactly.
So just don't do it.
Yeah, well, Goods really putting himself in danger of being penalised at a crucial stage in the game. No in the back call that time. Johnson got Lloyd deep, but he went short. He dropped the eyes, and that's well played because McPhee kicked a brilliant goal last week at the death from outside 50, so he can certainly get the journey.
They've got to get something out of this, Essendon. There's got to be reward for all this pressure. The Swans have been good. There's that little nudge.
Goods coming off, I reckon, or Hurd's coming off anyway.
The Goods has got the angry pills at the moment.
He's running with James all the way off. Couple of Brownlow medalists there.
Bit of a smile from James Hurd.
Righto, let's get back with Adam McPhee.
I don't think James Hurd would be too worried by that.
Bombers need some reward for peppering away, and they continue to miss.
Oh, yeah. The script on this is normally...
It is.
They race it down the other end and kick a goal.
The only thing, Blighty, is that Sydney have really been un-Sydney-like coming out of defence, haven't they?
Yeah.
Some of their handballing, just like this, they've turned it over.
Here we go again. The Bombers have kicked 4 points this quarter. Sydney has not scored. We're past the halfway mark of turn number 3.
Didn't dive on it.
2 weeks ago when Essendon played Brisbane, their commitment at the ball was sensational. It's what won them the game, their turnovers, their pressure, the emotional, physical pressure they put on their opposition.
A lot of time spent on the bench with James Hurd. The Doc's spoken to him. The runner's spoken to him. Matthews got it over to Buchanan. Another throw in.
They still got to put it on the scoreboard, Blighty.
Yeah, they do. Yes, you only get so many chances in a game, and have a look at that. 14-4. It is un-Sydney-like.
Hill against Jolly, snared by Matthews, did it nicely. Hall against Mel Michael, and Mel will be happy to see it over the line.
Done a pretty good job, Mel, hasn't he?
Pretty good. I think he's been sensational. He's dropped off a couple of times, but he's been with him all the way, and he's been very important in this game to be able to nullify Hall. Hasn't had an influence yet.
5 touches, no goals for Barry Hall. Out the back, Slattery. Stanton found out all about it. Crowded. Swans group tackle there. Fosdyke and his 150th. Mark Johnson didn't give up, and it just made a bit of a difference, didn't it, as it landed close to goal. And Fletcher, who's been slashing in defence as ever, was able to get the read on it. Ryder, and the Bombers can go again. Winderlick with Bevan. Oh, there's a turnover that might just hurt them. Davis, he had to release the footy. He had players away. Hall still got mates in the pocket. Adam Goods, will he go? You bet he will. And he should put the Swans back in front. And will Adam Goods have the last laugh?
Well, well, well.
It happened.
It happened. Amazing. Oh, the Bombers can feel hardly done by here. And Barry Hall just finished nicely, and Goods a certainty to play on and a certainty to kick a goal. Well, the Bombers have got to react now.
First goal of the quarter goes Sydney's way, kicked by Adam Goods. With James Hurd watching on, he's back on now in action. A fascinating contest. Sydney by 4 points. Jolly the tap did it nicely. Bolton, Jude slaps it forward. In the back,
desperate.
Free kick to Hurd.
Power and lower. That's what won him that free kick.
14th disposal.
White.
For the superstar from the Bombers. Laycock just too easily pushed under the ball there. Sydney get it back. Kirk to Richards, who's played a pretty good game. Over to Jude Bolton. And he'll kick to the wing and find Buchanan, who can mark and go. To Davis. To the hard run of Malcheski. Nice build up from the Swans. Malcheski goes for home. Almost Ryder just got back in the nick of time and saved the day for Essendon. And his kick finds Winderlick.
He covers some ground, Winderlick, doesn't he? He covers it.
7 minutes remaining in the quarter. Monfries, can he handle the terrain out there? It's not that easy. And he doesn't really make a great fist of it. Bolton as single-minded as ever.
Well done, both players.
Yeah, it was terrific. Stanton also, and that was young Jay Nash, so credit to him against a much more senior player. Dempster Ablett trying to get through. Monfries latches on.
He'll be picking the grass hairs out of his nose there, Ablett.
Well, I think Essendon have really butchered some chances here. Perhaps if they just moved the whole forward line up to the 50-metre arc and made a gap at the back, get a Pagan's paddock going or something like that, just so you can get some pressure running away from the ball.
Well, they've got an opportunity here, although you can see the delivery was no good for Barry Hall that time. And Fletcher, as he always does. Oh, this is dangerous for Stanton. He's able to pick it off. And now Mark Johnson away. The Bombers have got an extra one here. Could have gone to Watson. Instead, he wants to go back through the corridor and now back out for Watson. And let's see whether Lloyd and Lucas can give them something.
They've worked this well, Essendon. Watson, though, is held up by Dempster. Did it cleverly. And that is a very dangerous handball.
Oh, good luck.
Here's a chance for McVeigh to pounce. Handball was partially smothered. Hall will bust a hole in the pack. Good tackle, Watson. Great stuff. Ball still alive. Mark Johnson under pressure. Tries to kick to Hooley. And he keeps it alive. So Hooley to Nash, who was the late inclusion for Peveril. Into the pocket. Laycock. No mark.
This is just not working for them presenting, so why not make a gap at the back? You know, just they won't have to hold it up. Just kick it long and run onto it. Just another way of playing. I think it works sometimes, Michael. You would have been involved in a bit of that, just to get a gap over the back a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the numbers up, kick it over the top.
Lloyd's back in the square. Canali can't get in to help out. Barry did the job on his own. And O'Keefe. And suddenly the Swans have just become a little bit cleaner. Kirk's going to be under pressure here, but as always, there's a mate. And it is Eamon Buchanan who has been so effective in this game. He's had 21 possessions in 40 minutes of game time. That is great strike rate for Buchanan. Third most possessions on the ground. Up to the wing. He's gone for Jolly versus Hill. Jason Johnson, Lucas. Numbers with the Bombers here, so the boundary certainly the friend of Ben Matthews. It's over and out. The Swans leading by 4.
And look, I'm just looking at young fella for Essendon there. And he's as quick as Davey. Just get him at centre half forward, kick it over his head. No one will catch him. He's got to do something different.
Fletcher 24, Winderlick 18, Jason Johnson and McPhee 17 are the leading disposal getters for Essendon. For Sydney, 21 to Kirk and Buchanan and 19 to Malcheski. Handball's a quick one to Hooley.
So that could have been a quick kick. That could have been a quick kick over a pack and run around.
Goods against
Bolton. It up. Look, here we go.
Bevan lost his footing. Pouncing as Monfries. Back to Hurd. Free kick. It's coming back. It's a free kick going to Monfries. Free kick count very even. Essendon 16, Sydney 15. No doubt about that free kick. Free kicks this quarter. Essendon 8, Sydney 2. McPhee. 17 touches next to his name. Back to Ryder. To Michael. Now will he go up the middle? He does. To Bolton. Now Fletcher, who loads up with a monster drop punt. Richards underneath it and takes a good mark.
It was the wrong play there. Bolton shouldn't have given that handball to Fletcher. Fletcher was now under pressure to make a decision. He had to bomb it long because there was nothing else on. Just a little bit more patience there was required.
So can they take it the length here, the Swans? They've got no numbers up the ground because they're all back in defence. So Goods forced to be patient, but some options open up. You can see on the wing here, Buchanan not committed to playing on. Fletcher back marshalling the defensive troops. He's just inside the 50 arc. Just trying to stand in front of anyone that might present as being a danger. Now, better watch out here because Davey was there or thereabouts. Richards very composed. Kick wasn't perfect as we saw. Great contested footy tonight. What a quarter it is. Watson dives in and we wrap it up again. There's a few casualties.
Didn't tackle him, he tackled the ball.
Basher Hurley gets to his feet.
Well done. Good contest.
And again, it's Bevan in the thick of the action. Everett against Laycock. You'd think the experience with Everett would win out. And it did with the tap, not with the clearance yet. Kirk always gets in the right place. Even he can't cajole it out of there, and we will have a ball up.
Just a good arm wrestle at the moment, Blighty. Both sides just feeling their way out, going hard at it.
Sydney work it inside 50. Fletcher again to Ryder. Advantage paid. There's a free kick going Essendon's way. It wasn't much of an advantage.
Just figure if the game goes on like this, though, Michael, this is the strength of Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, they're older, stronger bodies. You would think they would wear it down, you know, but I mean, there's still only a kick in it.
Buchanan couldn't get a handle on it. Ablett did to Spider. Kicks around the corner. Top of the goal square. Oh! Is it a push in the back? It is! And Barry's going to go ballistic.
It's a huge call.
A push in the back and 50 metres. And there's the nudge. Maybe.
I thought kick the ball. The ball was kicked away. The ball was kicked away.
Given away 4 free kicks, Barry Hall, tonight.
Maybe he knew he did wrong there. He didn't really remonstrate too much.
Blighty, what do you want to see Essendon do to be able to just mix this up? They haven't kicked a goal for a long time.
Oh, they're playing the same way. And I've just mentioned, just put a gap at the back. You've got to just do something. You know, you can have your lines, you can have your 3 and 3, but I mean, you've got to do something completely different, I reckon.
Big 2 minutes here for both teams.
And it might be three-quarter time the good time to do it. You know, just make it a surprise tactic for that first 2 or 3 minutes after three-quarter time.
Definitely that shock factor.
Yeah.
Been such a dour struggle this third quarter, but it has been fascinating footy. Plenty of little subplots going on, and the Swans might just get one more chance. Although O'Keefe doesn't look like he's in any sort of hurry. Goes for Malcheski. You know that he's likely to use it well, although they're all pretty exhausted this late in the quarter.
Actually, Anthony, 17 times Essendon have been in their 50, and for no goals.
Well, fixed him up. We might get another opportunity. Malcheski, well, not much of a chance. And the Bombers might just be able to probe it out of there.
Which is completely against their trend, Blighty, because they are very efficient when they go forward.
McPhee cooked that time.
Great decision. You saw him drag it in.
Dempster, it's going to be tough for Bolton. No free kick. Davey was there, but so too was Buchanan, and they've worked it out to Jude Bolton. Oh, for a straight kick. 40 seconds left.
Gee, it was a great hardball get from Eamon Buchanan. Look at that. Brilliantly done.
Here goes a boundary throw in. Swans probably get more goals than anyone from this situation. Tap over the back, let it run over if they can. Not this time.
Quick kick from Laycock. Watson to Jason Johnson to McVeigh. One out is Lucas.
Good lead.
And he's within range, Scotty Lucas.
Yes, but there's no one there kicking it.
Kick it.
Just have a shot.
He's in range.
Just have a shot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's Scotty Lucas. He's 75 metres out. Sorry.
So Scott Lucas.
He did the honourable thing. Yeah, look.
Yeah, of course.
For Essendon's first goal of the quarter.
Oh,
This to put the Bombers back in front on the three-quarter time siren. And he does not get the distance.
Going to get a point though.
Score's not assisted by the attacking team, gone through by the defending team. Yes. So that is...
Soren had seen it when the ball was in transit.
Yeah. But, off hands.
Yeah, he's just punched it through.
So it's a point, all clear. Not assisted. Hey? All clear.
So, a bit sloppy there from Big Spider. I think it was Spider, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he's given away a point.
Well,
Three-quarter time.
Yeah.
It is Sydney in front by 3 points.
Gee, I've watched a lot of footy this year and I haven't seen a team work harder for no result. It's a disappointing finish for the Bombers.
Wonder if this will tell us anything at the end of the game.
I'm just trying to think what the rule is. It's not assisted by
No, it's a point.
Yep, absolutely.
And he
defender.
did kick it prior to the siren going.
Yep.
Are we convinced of that?
Oh, it was on the sirens, but the kick was still, the ball was still in play, obviously.
Okay, we're all happy it was a point.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, there's two umpires working it down there with the goal umpire. So three-quarter time, it is the Swans in front, but only just. They lead the Bombers by 3 points. Essendon, interesting, a lot of players, Malcolm and Michael, at three-quarter time on the ground being worked on.
Yeah,
Sydney, in
done that
contrast,
before.
all standing up.
They do that regularly. Essendon get the massage at three-quarter time, get the fresh legs going. And if you have a look at Essendon's fresh legs, they've got their ball winners, have had a bit of rest, so they should be ready to go. Jobe Watson, very important. Hurd, very important late in the game last week. They'll need it in the later part of this game.
Have a look at Buchanan, 49 minutes of 89, and he's had 24 touches. Fosdyke and Bolton, they're three important runners in this last quarter. On that, I'd go for the strength of the Swans with key fresh legs.
Neil Cordy.
Yes, Luke Ablett's obviously recovered from that nasty knock we saw. James Hurd, he was one of those 4 players on the ground getting treatment on that groin. They seems to have managed that okay. Mark Johnson, Mark Bolton and Brent Stanton were also the others getting the treatment, but I think everybody's pretty much okay.
Brisbane lead the Tigers by a couple of goals early in the final quarter.
Hurd going forward, as we saw a moment ago. Ablett on Winderlich. Interesting with Watson, he averages 73 minutes a game and he's already on that, so we'll see how much power and strength he's got left in this last quarter. It shapes as a beauty. Only 3 points between the teams as we start the final stanza. Kirk's gone down for the 8 count and Watson was able to escape and get them the first touch. Stanton got the 360 treatment. Gee, it's been really tight and tense since half-time particularly. Kirk's recovered, that's no surprise. Fosdyke had the air shot. And now Johnson to Davey, who's had minimal impact. But every little touch could have maximum impact in this last quarter. That's how tight it is. Snyder had plenty of time to size up the situation, and Fosdyke made it a bit of a spectacle. He's played well in his 150th, but a little bit quiet after a terrific start. Now, Kennelly. Gee, he has the confidence to have a bounce, even though he had Bombers defenders closing in. Kirk, and that's great delivery. A-grade stuff for Michael O'Loughlin, who gets the footy in the shape he wants it to kick quickly, but there wasn't anything on for him immediately. So he goes in the Hall and Jolly direction. Hurd has been marking as good as I've ever seen him in the last month. He has just been taking some great grabs.
He's in great form.
Kick out wide to McPhee, but he's got no one to go to. Winderlich works hard, but the kick from McPhee's no good.
Jason, come back. Go right round, Luke.
Here's the Hurd mark over the big ruckman Jolly. So free kick to Ablett at half-back for the Swans. Just 1 goal kicked in that third quarter. The fact the Swans just kicked a solitary goal, no behinds, and the Bombers kicked 5 points. Essendon led by 11 at quarter time, Sydney by 2 at the main break, and now the margin is 3 points.
Oh.
Another kick missing its target, another clanger for Sydney, and now Michael finds James Hurd just about 5 metres too far out to score.
Nick, go out, Nick.
Hurd, great kick. Beautiful, gee, such a smart player. And Matthew Lloyd says, thank you very much, lace out.
Well, just well done by Hurdy. He kicked it to that spot. He said, you run there, I'll kick it there. Lloyd just ended up on the end of it. It was just really smart play by 2 players that have played a lot together.
Well, Matthew Lloyd has kicked 2 goals too. We saw him miss an easy goal. 25 out directly in front in the third quarter. Will he make amends here and put the Bombers back in front? Yes, he does. Well done, James Hurd. Great goal assist. Matthew Lloyd kicks his third, and Essendon lead by 3.
And really it was that skill error from kicking from the Swans, and as the boys have mentioned, they've had a lot of clangers with their kicking, most unusual, and they really did pay a price then when they had control of the game. So they're going to have to fight again.
And there's Essendon's forward line. Blighty, you wanted them up the ground a little bit further. They've now huddled at centre half forward, creating the space over the back. So you must have coached before, Blighty.
When's your debut? Michael?
Oh, let's not go there tonight.
Oh, okay. I meant to ask you earlier, but the game's so intriguing. Let's see you pull out the match-winning move tonight, Michael.
Well, I think you have, mate.
Hill's got it down, but You can see Kirk not having his usual effect. Slattery's kick. They're inside 50.
Look out.
And Lloyd just full of aggression out there, trying to lead the Bombers to an unlikely win. Hurd is helping them. Davey just couldn't get a handle on it.
I mean, you can have all those series, Michael, and I'll give you a little tip on coaching. You can have all those series, but if you actually don't get your hand on it in the middle of the ground and you kick it forward, it's hard to score.
Yeah, it helps to get the pill, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's it.
And it helps when you've got a man like James Hurd playing for you.
Who still looks the most threatening one out there, doesn't he? Ablett, and Hurd again involved. Still doing the hard thing, still extracting the footy where no one else could. Unfortunately, his kicking let him down that time.
They needed a man up on him then. They can't afford to have someone standing in free space. They need a contest in that area of the ground.
Well, Stanton went to the closer man, and that allowed Bolton to escape out of defence. Had a pretty mean look on his face, like he was trying to find his teammate Hall. It just gives Mel Michael a couple of shoves. Mel's not gone yet. He has won that battle tonight, although Hall will no doubt keep going and maybe still have a say in this game in the last quarter.
He has been super, Mel Michael. The Rock of Gibraltar, as they called him in Brisbane. Soul as a rock.
Built like one too. Jolly won that one against Hill. Abbott's over the top of it. Hill just threw it out. Went to O'Keefe. High ball. Kirk camped underneath it. Well done, Winderlick. Good swooped. But it's over the line.
Got some energy left, hasn't he, Goods, you reckon?
Pardon?
Got some energy left by the look of it.
11 possessions for Goods.
Throw in exactly 50 metres out from the Swans' goal. Give that one to Jolly. Guess who?
Oh.
Guess who? The maestro. Oh, the big flowers by Lloyd. And another throw in.
Has there been any better player around stoppages who can just will the ball to him almost? Almost every stoppage James Hurd goes to, he looks like he's going to get it. He just demands it. Reads the play so beautifully.
Oh, I've seen a few. But he's very good at it.
And he gets it again.
5 disposals and 2 clearances already in this quarter, James Hurd.
No chance.
Bad for a bloke out of dodgy groin.
Was it Hurdy? Is he on the bottom there?
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful.
20
Well done,
possessions for the match, 4 free kicks, a couple of tackles, 6 marks. Hasn't got a goal yet, but certainly not going to be beyond him. Hasn't been a big goal-kicking year for James Hurd, which he thought he was going to spend a fair bit more time forward. Just the 3 goals he's kicked.
Not far away from his 250th. This is game 246 tonight.
Hill and Jolly cuddling again. No cuddling going on down at the bottom of the pack though. Gee, that was just a little flash of an opportunity for the Swans. They might still be able to escape. Melchesky, who wants the footy the most? Ablett sets it up. The space and the race. And McPhee got a cruel bounce. But he had teammates there who were working just as hard. And now it's the Bombers' turn to run and gun.
Winderlick. Out in front of Lucas, who'll get it. And he missed from this distance at 3/4 time, but he has a chance for a goal here. Scott Lucas, we're kicking from 51 metres out. He's second on the goal kicking table this year. He's given it his best. It is...
Oh, fat post.
Another fat poster. And that's Scott Lucas's first score tonight.
James Hurd's come off for a rest. So we're going to run out those last few minutes of this quarter.
Well, player management could be pretty important tonight in this last term. It's grinding down. There's 14 minutes remaining. Leo Barry, Bombers hanging on by 4. Swans defence have created one over the top. Took too long to realise that Kirk was on, and now Ablett can run further up the ground, but they've already switched. Nothing for Taikinelli on this side. He might have to go back, and he has got someone on the outer side, and it's Ablett who kept on wandering at half back, and he gets a tough old bounce to deal with, and it was too hard for him to handle. You can see a bit ginger there.
Yeah, he looks sore, doesn't he?
Well, Sydney won't duck away from a fight. They love to play this style of game, make it nice and tight. They'll finish out the game running.
Comes out the back of the pack. Monfries over to Hill. Dropping the ball, holding the ball. Free kick to Sydney.
Jolly, your kick.
So Jolly's got it. Tried to milk it for a 50. Umpire was up to that trick. So Darren Jolly. No one on the mark, so he gets an extra 10 metres. Kicks a long one. O'Loughlin works his way to the front. Well done, Ryder. Malcheski wrapped up by a couple of Bombers. That's going nowhere, that ball.
That's a
And
beautiful.
it's been pinged.
It was a win. Was a win for a while. It was 2v1. Have a look at that. 2v1. And yeah, okay. Wow.
Have you got another option?
So McPhee has been told to play on. And his kick finds Watson. Deep in defence.
I know we talked about Barry Hall a bit tonight, but remember we talked, he had 30 goals in the last 5 games against the Bombers. And there he is, without a goal tonight.
6 disposals, 2 marks.
Back 2 metres, Nick, come back, please.
McPhee, 21 possessions. So it's the Bombers' turn to have to try and hit targets, and the world just closes in a little bit on McPhee, and you can see the result. He's kicked it, not blindly, but into the space, and Hill was able to use his brawn there to get through, and now Ryder finds himself alone and unattended on the wing, and I don't think he quite knew how to deal with that. Davey, you'd back him here for a bit of pace. Has he got the guile? He'll keep on going, Davey. They can get it out to him. They still might get it to him. No. Instead, it's Slattery. He's still involved. Well done, Slattery. Stanton. Oh, that's a big call.
You got him on the shoulder. Stanton. Yeah, that's good hard footy, mate. You don't want me jumping in there. No, I'm serious, Jack.
And there it was, just across the shoulder, just for a moment. Special comments from Paul Roos.
Well, it's a free kick.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Cut.
So, Brent Stanton, 7 goals, 3 for the season. 38 goals in his career, and he hasn't kicked too many more important than that one. What a brave effort from the Bombers tonight at the SCG. They lead by 10.
Well, they keep coming, and that was a massive kick for Essendon. You'll be able to go back, compose yourself, and now Essendon have a genuine sniff at this game. Genuine sniff. And it's up to Sydney now to pull something out of the hat.
Paul Roos looks as calm as ever, just munching on a lolly.
So I was wondering what you're going to come up with it. Yeah. This is pretty interesting now. This is season-defining games, I think, for both of them in some ways.
Essendon is 9th, Sydney 8th, both with 5 wins.
Yeah, and maybe top 4 is not available for the team that loses.
It's the Bombers by 10 points, nearing the halfway mark of the final quarter.
Gang tackle, mine.
Should just follow up on that. I mean, it's not a disastrous result. We know that 5 and 5 after 10. But you're going to have to play some good footy to get into the top 4.
Jolly, wonderful tap to Jude Button. He's tackled. Essendon win it back. Welsh has a fresh area. Monfries pushed in the back by Malcheski.
Welsh, you just settle down and go away, all right?
They just haven't been as clean, have they, tonight? The kicking and...
Even their tackling like that.
Yeah, missed opportunities and...
Number 28 coming up for Fletcher, and it is a monster kick. It's huge. It's inside 50. Ball spills to Bolton. Bolton has kicked the goal! And the Bombers whipping boy has kicked his second and has put Essendon 16 points in front. And Sydney are now well and truly under the pump.
Well, maybe this may be the game that actually he starts believing that he can actually do it consistently. The Swans looked as though they had the fresh legs, but right now the Bombers are showing everything.
They're winning the clearances 6-2 in this quarter, and most importantly, they're converting them into goals, which they couldn't do in the third, and as a result, they lead by 16. Stirring effort from the Bombers. Can they go on with it? Laycock's in the ruck, so a chance for the Swans to try and get it out of the middle, and Everett does it on his own. Eventually, some help from Ablett, Welsh, Malcheski was there, Kirk, Stanton, Watson. The Bombers are keeping their feet at the moment, and they are running away from the Swans. Lloyd Barry. You start.
What a mark. He just had to take that. There was no other option. If it had spilt to the ground, Lloyd was ready to swoop. A big mark from Leo Barry. Now Sydney on the rebound. Everett looks for O'Loughlin. Ryder in front, as he has been for most of the night. Fletcher to Davey. Back to Ryder. Now Kirk. He looks a little sore and sorry for himself too. Kicks to Hall, he takes the mark. Hall should get it moving quickly. But he stops and weighs up the options. Now he goes to short pass. Didn't come off. Essendon get it back. Mal Michael over to Ryder. And now Davey can run.
Just that area again, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Looks for Lloyd and
Just can't
finds
find
him.
Wide.
26 minutes since the Swans have scored a goal. That's not anything that'll interest Bomber fans at the moment. Stanton, they are more intent on putting another one on the board. Bolton's gone back to the goal square. I wonder if he can get involved in this. No, fell for Lucas and Mark Johnson. The moment perhaps just passing. No, Bolton kept it alive. Will Everett concede? No, uses Fosdyke on the way out, and the Swans can wind up here from half back. Everyone will be sapped of energy. Kirk letting his mates come and run from behind, and his teammates are saying, get it on, get it moving. Barry Hall was screaming for it half forward, but Kirk could see plenty of Essendon jumpers back there to try and negotiate, and that's why he held it up. And still Kirk's going to have to get that kick into the 50, so, oh, is that out in the full? No, it's just inside. And Luke Ablett with some pretty weary legs gets up to take it.
You're right, Anthony. There's a lot of tired players out there. The Swans need 3 goals to win.
Yeah, and they've got to react to this. I remember saying this in a Premier final, they got up to kick 3 goals in the last 3 minutes of a game. They're actually got to go forward. You must go forward at some stage.
Leo Barry to O'Keefe.
And you roll the dice.
Just a great mark. He's fantastic overhead.
Took it out of the open side, got the one-on-one contest.
Slattery did everything humanly possible there. So Keefe, a must-kick goal.
Oh, yeah.
They're 4 goals straight from set shots tonight. Ryan O'Keefe has missed. First score of the quarter.
We spoke about what Essendon had to do before, Malcolm. I'd love to see Sydney perhaps pull all their forwards back, create some midfield space so they can get some run through the middle of the ground.
Telling mark then from Laycock, but I think his brain got a little bit ahead of his body there as he tried to play on. Hurd there to help out as he always is, and that was a beautifully placed kick. Sweetly to Stanton. Can they finish them off? Lloyd, Everett. Lloyd's still going to be trying his guts out there to keep it inside, which they've done. McPhee, quick thinking, no, it was out. Throw in on the 50.
Hurd's almost moved into quarterback mode, just playing behind the ball, blocking up any Sydney forward thrust. He's now had 7 possessions in this last quarter.
He's just wandering down there, just to kick off the contest
He's
here.
just playing like a quarterback role, setting up.
Let's see if he gets involved again. Goods. Jason Johnson. Now, Kennelly. Dustin Fletcher is back along centre half back, so they couldn't kick it long. They're going to have to carry it on their own. O'Loughlin. False dive. Has to go very short for Richards. It's painful for the Swans tonight. None of their normal fluency. Barry Hall calls for it long. It hasn't really been the percentages tonight for the Swans. Can he? No, he can't. Just hasn't been Barry's night.
Actually, if you're looking at this game since half-time, 17 entries Essendon in their forward line that third quarter, and now this last quarter, they're winning that. On play, Essendon should be further in front.
Absolutely. I think that they dominate that first half for sure.
Kirk can't get boot to ball, forces it forward. They'll rush it behind here. Point to the Swans, but they need goals and they need them fast. Ooh. As the kick finds Jason Johnson. Now over to McVeigh, to McPhee. And the Bombers are looking at the likely winners. They lead by 14 as we near red time.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, low percentage that kick, and on that occasion O'Keefe really had Slattery worrying about where O'Keefe was and not where the ball was.
It's just not a great decision to go back under pressure in the middle.
Buchanan. Mel Michael's still down there with Hall. Hall doubling back to the square.
Come on, you got to roll the dice, boys. You got to go for it.
Lachlan leads into the pocket, but not that palatable option. So he goes for Davis. Again, it's hard to see them finding a way, but they just might still. Bolton, good chain of handballs. Snyder, surely Nick Davis off the left. He doesn't miss when it matters. And there's only 8 points in it.
Can I say, it was really sloppy too, wasn't it? I mean, it just wasn't, you know, they got a pretty lucky bounce.
Yep.
Lucky kick, Hurts just missed it. You know, there's a bit of a fumble there. This is good play, of course. And now on his left foot, he's pretty handy, we know that. But it all was a bit hard anyhow.
Just reeling the ball forward. And there's Sydney drawing all their players back to the goal square, creating open space at centre half forward, hopefully for their midfielders to be able to run through and kick a goal.
Well, Sydney still needs 2 goals to win. Everett the tap. Jude Bolton gets the clearance. A high ball, Hall's in front of Michael. Michael picks him off. For the ball is McVeigh. We've got a throw in 70 metres out from the Swans goal.
Love seeing players on the move here, Michael. You've got more chance of getting it. He's on the move.
5 to go. Buchanan looks for Hall. Michael again fists it away.
He's been good, Buchanan.
Gee, he's got it. He's had Barry's measure, hasn't he? Just consistently, Mel Michael.
Hadn't been a great night for the forwards, has it?
No.
You know, I mean, it's a bit slippery, a bit sloppy.
Behind the back, around the back of the contest, will be dangerous here for Essendon.
Everett does just that to Schneider. Ablett throws it on the boot. O'Loughlin's one out, works his way to the front. Ryder punches it away. For the ball is Matthews. Paddles, Stanton snapping at the heels. O'Keefe's there. Matthews has another crack at it. Now O'Loughlin taps it back to a teammate. Ablett's tired. He's injured. Now Bolton Jude picks it up over to O'Loughlin. He throws it on the boot. It falls short. No mark. Play on, says the umpire. Barry Hall pounces. Mark Johnson's in there for Essendon. Welsh the quick kick out of the pack. How far? Not far enough. Picked up by O'Keefe, but here's Mark. His kick is marked by Fletcher. It is frantic.
How good's this bloke going?
Dustin Fletcher, possession number 30 for Hill. McPhee, will they be bold and daring here, the Bombers, or will they just try and hold it up? They saw Richmond do that last week and fail. McPhee, he's one of those attacking players. He took it out. Oh, the umpire didn't call it. We had the angle on it. McVeigh! Oh, what a super goal! A super goal, a golden goal from Mark McVeigh. Goals are like gold tonight, and that was absolutely sensational, and they may well have sunk the Swans, but that was out of bounds. We saw it, we had the angle on it, Blighty.
Right behind it. Blighty called it.
Great angle from our cameraman from Channel 10, and McVeigh, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's celebrating.
He doesn't have to call. Here he is, the boundary umpire, on that angle. Couldn't have honestly called it. And that's fair enough.
Oh, he's out a long way. His actual other foot is out of bounds.
Every bit of the ball's got to be over, you know.
It was.
We didn't have a camera from above. It was a goal.
It missed a fat post too, Vossi.
It did.
Yeah, they were very unlucky, the Swans.
The Bombers lead by 14.
I mean, it was a great finish.
Yeah,
it was a great finish.
Yeah.
Still needed the finish. McVeigh stood up.
Everett the tap. And we'll have a secondary bounce.
And during the call, you said, will they hold the splice or will they go?
Yeah, and they
Hill's kick to McPhee was positive.
They had
aggressive.
the break. Yeah, had the break. Got to attack.
They wanted to win it.
Watson. He's dragged it in. Umpire said no, play on. Now Matthews.
Make a call just on the defence. The Bombers haven't won this, of course, and it's been a great contest. But as Paddy Ryder at full back said, I'm now going to replace Dustin Fletcher. Dustin Fletcher, you can do what you do tonight. How much better do they look with the both of them there?
Free kick to Kirk.
Stay out, Jane, please.
Just got to bang it long now. Hall provides the lead. Oh, again the fist from Michael. O'Keefe's in there. So is Craig Bolton, Stanton, Michael. What a win this will be for the Bombers. They'll leapfrog the Swans on the ladder. Ablett tries to fist it forward. Now spills to Buchanan. What a game he's played. Picked up by Stanton. Kicks it out into open territory. It's 2-on-2 out here. Lloyd.
Off the ground.
Tried to. Unsuccessfully. Now Leo Barry. Kicks to Dempster. And he finds Hall. He's just going to go back and kick the goal. Can't waste any time. Bombers by 14. Barry Hall. From right on 50. It's a good looking kick. There is still time for Sydney.
Wow. They've been manful, both teams. The Swans we've mentioned a few times just haven't been quite as clean, but this is a lovely kick in. Wow. It is only 2 takeaways out the centre, and the scoreboard could change quite dramatically. And the master coach, Sheets, has just put a few extra back at the moment.
A few hundred.
There are a lot of players back.
Only 2 forward for Essendon.
Yeah, but there's only 2 Swans players with them.
Well, they won't give in. We don't have to tell you that. And Kirk, Captain Kirk gets them forward again. Hall, there's Lloyd, the fullback. Gets it out to the wing. Stanton.
Keep your feet.
Buchanan.
Only one Essendon player now forward of the ball. And it's not who you'd think it would be. It's not Lucas. It's not Lloyd. It's Monfries.
Little Angus.
And Nash is also down there as well. He's the only sort of forward. Other than the rest of them, they're all up on the wing or in defence. Kirk again. Goods wasn't looking. Neither was Bolton. They're looking at each other. But Bolton, in the Jude variety, can find a man. And it's Paul Bevan.
Craig Bolton.
Craig Bolton, in fact.
Come forward.
From Bolton to Bolton.
And the Swans are bolting right now.
Whoa.
Wow.
So, forwards have become defenders, and defenders have become forwards, and they're showing them how to kick the goal, and the Swans are still in it. Don't go to bed yet.
Pins down. Swans are geniuses. How do they do it? They do it time and time again. It always becomes boring for them. this game was over 5 minutes ago, wasn't it? Surely.
Well, it's now officially a Saturday night special. Is there time for Sydney? Essendon lead by 2 points. The Bombers have floated back. Big time.
Have a look at this takeaway.
Swans need the clearance. Everett gets it. Bangs it on the boot. Hall's behind Michael. No mark. Play on is the call. Alwyn Davies got it. Tries to force it forward. Ablett for Sydney gathers. Ducked the head. Got the handball out to Malcheski. Puts it inside 50. Jolly. No mark. Desperate stuff. Handball comes out. Here's a chance. Buchanan. Buchanan has missed. It hit the post.
The fat post.
Yeah, of course. Have a look at this. Have a look at this for luck. Oh, yeah.
Pandemonium at the SCG. 1 point the difference. Now surely the Bombers will try and suck up the clock.
McPhee over the boundary line, and now the Swans hit the post.
Remember that behind at the end of the third quarter too.
Yeah.
Everett gave them one on the siren, but they're not thinking about that now. Buchanan. Who's going to go? Anyone? Anyone want it? Everyone wants it now.
Oh, there must be 2 seconds left. Surely this game's over.
Sheedy wants them to just blow the siren.
Remember what he said about the 96 preliminary final here when Essendon got beat by a point.
No plugger tonight. No free kick there either. Davey, it's over! James Hird, you can see what it means to him. The